بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. السلام عليكم guys. So we are continuing with our advanced Nahu studies, and today we are looking at a new topic, الأفعال الشروع. So these are what I'm defining as commencing verbs. It's going to be a very short topic. There's not much going in terms of this topic really, but it's an important one because it will help you, maybe not so much in your Quranic studies, but maybe in your conversational skills, and basically it helps a lot. That's what I've noticed. So what is commencing verbs? What are al-af'al al-shuru'? Shuru' means to begin, to commence, to start. So these verbs, al-af'al al-shuru', are verbs that come with the meaning of to begin. Okay? They normally mean something else, but if they are used in a certain way, and we're going to see how, then they come with the meaning of to begin. How? When used in the past tense. So when used in the Madi, specifically Madi, guys, I'm not saying anything else. So when they come only in the Madi version, okay, only in the Madi. And then once they do that, then they come with the meaning of to begin. And now because you ask yourself to begin what, they feel like it's incomplete. And because it's incomplete, it acts as a jumla ismiya. It acts like kana. You know, when we looked at kana, we said there are two kinds of kana. There's kana atamma, the complete one, and there's kana an-naqisa, the incomplete one. And the kana an-naqisa, the incomplete one, acts as a jumla ismiya. It takes a khabar. It has an isim kana and a khabar kana. Same thing with this af'al al-shuru'. When they come in the madi form and they have the meaning of to begin, then they take on an isim and they take on a khabar. Okay? Why? Because they are incomplete. Just like kana is incomplete in certain instances, these verbs also behave in an incomplete way. All right? So they take a khabar to complete them. You will see the structure will look like a fi'al madi followed by a fi'al mudari'. So that's how it's going to look like. A fi'al madi and a fi'al mudari'. And like we've said, if it comes in any other form, if it comes in mudari', for example, or it comes in amr, or it comes in nahi, or any other form other than the madi, then it no longer acts as a fa'al shuru' and it takes on its original meaning. It doesn't mean to begin anymore. Let's look at some examples in English before we get into the whole topic, or examples in Arabic. When I say the boy began eating, I could just say the boy began, but it sounds incomplete. You'll ask me, began what? He began doing something. So this began here is what we are calling al-af'al al-shuru'. So you can see began is fi'al madi, eating is fi'al mudari'. So it kind of follows the same structure in English as well. She began screaming. The teacher began teaching. So you can see the idea of how it happens. And of course, the teacher would be the isim of beginning. She would be the isim here, and the boy would be the isim there. So now let's look at some of the rules for this af'al al-shuru'. Isn't fi'al madi followed by mudari' it's sifa? No. An isim, a nakira isim followed by a mudari' would be a sifa. It has to be a nakira isim. That would be the mawsuf, and then you have a complex jumla. You have a jumla ismiya or a jumla fi'aliya after it, which becomes its sifa. All right? And then the other case where we talked about two fi'al mudari'as back to back, when you have two fi'al mudari', one next to the other, then that creates a scenario of a hal. Okay? That creates a scenario of a hal. So the other situation in where you have a madi and a mudari', this is af'al al-shuru'. Where you have a mudari' and a mudari', or a madi and a madi, sometimes a madi and a mudari', you can have a hal, not a sifa. So just be careful with that. I know sifa and hal can sometimes be confused. I used to confuse actually myself. I used to confuse hal with sifa until I realized sifa has to have a nakira ism. Hal has to have a proper ism. And then once you understand that, makes everything clear, inshallah. Okay, so this is a different thing. This one is where you have a fi'al madi, and not just any fi'al madi, by the way, specific words. There are certain words, specific words that can take on this meaning, not all words. Okay, so that we have to be very careful. There is a list, and I'm going to give you that list of those words that behave or that take on the meaning of to begin. Okay, yeah, so that's clear. One thing we need to know is that there's only one fi'al shuru' that appears in the Quran. That is tafiqa. Memorize that, know that, because that's the only one that happens in the Quran. And basically when I say it's the only one that happens in the Quran, I mean it's the only one that happens in the Quran with the meaning of to begin, with acting as a fi'al shuru'. Okay? So that's important. You could have other verbs like akhadha appears in the Quran a lot, but it doesn't come with the meaning of to begin. Okay? Ja'ala comes in the Quran a lot, but it doesn't come with the meaning of to begin, even though it is a verb that, if used in the madi, in the right way, can be a fi'al shuru'. So that's important to remember and realize. So what does it do? Like we said, it acts like an incomplete sentence that requires a khabar, just like a jumla ismiya. So it has an ism and it has a khabar. And then the khabar has to be a fi'al mudari'. So we said you have the fi'al shuru', which is in the madi, and then you have next to it a fi'al mudari'. And this fi'al mudari' will be the khabar fi mahalli rafa of that fi'al shuru'. Okay? And then the khabar has to have a pronoun that connects back to it. So, for example, if I say, we said the khabar has to be a jumla fi'al mudari'. So if our fi'al mudari' is yansuruna, for example, yansuruna. Okay, that's our fi'al mudari'. Or maybe let's have the fi'al shuru' akhadha as well. Akhadha yansuruna. If I say akhadha yansuruna, first of all, we have to ask ourselves, okay, so what is the fi'al shuru'? Akhadha is the fi'al shuru'. What is the khabar? Yansuruna. Does it have a pronoun that connects back to its ism? Now here's the thing. What is the ism of akhadha? What is basically the doer? It's huwa. Here we have hum. It doesn't match. That means what I needed to do here is to say akhadhu. Make it hum version. So this has to be hum version. Akhadhu yansuruna. Or I'm going to make it singular. Akhadha yansuru. Huwa version. So the pronoun inside yansuru and the pronoun inside akhadha have to match. That's basically what we are saying here. So when I say the pronoun inside akhadha, that is the ism of akhadha. Okay, the pronoun inside akhadha is the ism, and the pronoun inside yansuru is basically the pronoun that comes back and matches. So I cannot say akhadha yansuruna or akhadhu yansuru. It has to basically match. Akhadhu yansuruna or akhadha yansuru. Akhadhat tansuru. And so on and so forth. So it has to match. And of course, the khabar has to come after. You cannot have khabar muqaddam. In this case, you cannot have that. So the fi'l, basically, you cannot say the teacher teaching began. Even in English, it doesn't make sense. You cannot say the teacher teaching began. People will be like, what are you saying? So in the same sense, in Arabic also, you cannot have the khabar, which is the teaching here, coming before the fi'al shuru'. Okay? And then lastly, the fa'il of the khabar has to be an inside pronoun, like the way we did. Obviously, you cannot have basically an outside doer of this fa'il. It has to be an inside pronoun. Those are the rules for af'al al-shuru'. That's basically it. We don't have any more information. That is it. It's a very simple, basic topic, but once you get it, it's really going to help your conversation and sentence structure and construction. So let's look at an example in Arabic here. Here وإذا رأيتهم تعجبك followed yes. Yeah. So this is a different case. Yeah, this is a case of hal. So you have two verbs following each other. And also, why do we know that? Because ra'a is not one of the fi'ls from أفعال الشروع. So we cannot say it is fi'l shuru because it doesn't come with the meaning of to begin. Okay? So you have to know these few verbs that are أفعال الشروع, and once you know them, then everything else is not going to be a fi'l shuru. And I'm going to show you that list, and then everything else will just, yeah. Oops. Okay. Great. So let's look at this example. بدأ is one of the فعل شروع. بدأ الطلاب, and بدأ also means to begin. In its original meaning, basically, it means to begin. بدأ الطلاب بدأ الطلاب يكتبون. So the students began writing. بدأ would be the فعل شروع, and you can see it is in the ماضي. Okay, it has to be in the ماضي. And then الطلاب is the اسم of بدأ, because it's telling you who did it. Like, you know, kana has an ism and it's telling you who did it. Same thing here. Who did it? الطلاب. Okay, so it's going to be marfu'. Why? Because it's the dua, and also it's the ism, like the same way we did in kana. The ism of kana is marfu', it's in rafa' status. Yeah, so the same thing, also the ism of bada is going to be marfu', because essentially it's just the dua, it's the fa'il. Yeah, so that is the ism of bada'a. And then you have يكتبون, which is a فعل مضارع في محل رفع خبر of بدأ. Okay, so you can see how it goes back, and you can see that the واو here, واو للجماعة, the واو of plural, يكتبون, كتب يكتب, هو يكتب, هما يكتبان, هم يكتبون. It's referring to the plural. Why? Because الطلاب is a human broken plural. And we know with human broken plurals, we treat them as reality. Okay? So that's why we are saying يكتبون. بدأ الطلاب يكتبون. So that pronoun has to match هم, because الطلاب is هم, is many. It's not just one, it's many. And that is why it matches, it goes back to that. Is that clear? I hope that concept is clear, because basically that's all there is to أفعال الشروع. Okay, great. I don't see any questions. So we're gonna just look at, remember we said, let's see, there's something here. Okay, clear, alhamdulillah. Remember we said the only فعل شروع that happens in the Quran is طفقة. And it happens as a فعل شروع only 3 times in the Quran. So know these places, because it's important. They're the only places that you will find the فعل شروع. Okay, so it's important to know, even memorize if you can, these 3 places. The first one, actually the first 2, they talk about the same incidents, about Adam alayhi salam, and then the last one talks about Sulaiman alayhi salam. Okay, so different instances, but 2 main stories. So you have the first one, فلما ذاق الشجرة بدت لهما سوآتهما وطفقا يخصفان عليهما من ورق الجنة. So you have وطفقا. This is the one that we said exists in the Quran, and you can see it has an alif. It's not طفقا هو version, it's طفقا, it's هما version. Okay, it's both of them. And that's why when the fi'l came back, when the fi'l, the khabar of طفقا, you see it's the dual version. يخصفان. It's not يخصف. It's يخصفان, the dual version. Why? Because this has to match with this, basically. So the ism here is inside, and it matches with the ism, with the dua there inside as well. And I've shown you here. So you have the dual version here. You have the dual version. They're both huma and huma. You can see how it matches, right? The second example, فأكلا منها, again talking about Adam and Hawa. So فبدت لهما سوآتهما وطفقا يخصفان عليهما من ورق الجنة. Same structure. So طفقا, both of them, they began. يخصفان عليهما من ورق الجنة. So يخصفان will be the خبر of طفقا. So to do the إعراب, we would say that this one, طفقا, basically, the isim of طفقا would be هما, the inside pronoun هما, and يخصفان would be the خبر of طفقا. Okay? So that's kind of how we'll do that. Then the last one is an interesting one, because the last one, it doesn't have a khabar. Or basically, because we said the khabar has to be a fi'al mudari', right? But when you read this, it said فَطَفِقَ مَسْحًا. Mashan has a tanween on it. This is clearly an ism. Mashan is a masdar. So where is the khabar? The grammarians say that the khabar is actually mahdhuf. Why? Because mashan is maf'ul mutlaq. Remember we talked about maf'ul mutlaq and we said na'ibu maf'ul mutlaq is where you have a sifa and then the fi'l of that thing is missing. So the fi'l here is missing. It's supposed to be فَطَفِقَ يَمْسَحُ مَسْحًا. So يَمْسَحُ here, there's a hidden verb, the khabar يَمْسَحُ. So he began touching it mashan, gently, you could say. Like it's just it's adding to the kind of touching, how he touched it. Okay, it's describing Sulaiman alayhi salam with the horses. Okay, so فطفق مسحا بالسوق والأعناق. So we would say that طفق is فعل مضارع and the فاعل is the inside pronoun هو, and it matches with the يمسح, which is the فعل مضارع that comes after, and it is hidden because this مسحا is a نائب مفعول مطلق. So the مفعول مطلق is the فعل is actually hidden there. يمسح مسحا. Remember that structure? يمسح مسحا. So that's basically what you would have in such a case. Okay, but at the end of the day, it matches. يمسح, the inside pronoun is هو, and طفق, the inside pronoun is هو, so it matches. You cannot say فطفقان not طفقان فطفقا يمسح. I cannot use the dual version on one side and a singular version on the other side. So that's basically a summary of what happens in the Quran. Okay, so what are other أفعال الشروع? So we've done طفقة, that's the one that exists in the Quran. And then we have بدأ, which also means to begin. أخذ, which means to take, but if used as a فعل شروع, it means to begin. Okay, جعل, which means to transform something, to change something from one thing to another, or to make something into something else. That's جعل. Sometimes it can also be used in the meaning of creation, to create something. But when used as a فعل شروع, it still means to begin. أنشأ, to initiate something, to originate something. But of course, it has the meaning of to begin as well. ابتدأ is lazim. I began, like myself. It's lazim, while بدأ is متعدي. So that's the difference between these two. بدأ and ابتدأ. بدأ, I began something. ابتدأ, I myself began to eat, for example. And then you have habba, same thing. This one is rarely used, but the first five, they're quite common. So you gotta watch out for those. So these are basically the main ones, okay, that you need to remember. Any questions so far?
Right. So after the tarkib, will it be jumla ismiya, sister?
Jumla ismiya. No, it still be jumla fi'liya. It's still treated as a fi'al. For example, if you see the i'rab of طفق مسحا, you would see طفق as fi'al ماضي. They would say that. فعل ماضي, the dua is the inside pronoun, and the khabar is mahdhuf. They would say the khabar of it is mahdhuf, because and some books would actually mention that because it is min af'al الشروع, it is from these fi'als. Yeah, so when they mention that, they expect you to know that it takes a khabar. Yeah. Just like when they're doing the i'rab of kana, actually they would say kana fi'al naqis. Even though we learned that, you
Yeah.
know, to treat it as مبتدا خبر, but if you read the إعراب, it will actually say فعل ناقص. It's an incomplete verb. Because it's a verb, but it takes a خبر and an ism. So same thing. How is the بدأ I began? Yeah. Is it not? Oh, sorry, he began. He began, yes, I'm sorry. Sorry. Yeah, بدأ he began, ابتدأ he began. So بدأ he began something, he started something, and ابتدأ he began himself. Yeah, those are the Hua versions, all of them. Sorry about that confusion. Saima, you have another question? Or?
But is it, sister, does all these fail? It comes in the same pattern, or it can come in other way, like jala, if it has to be in this pattern, then it need to have the khabar, right? Jala.
Yes. Yes. All
Fail.
of this.
If it is in alshuroo, then it need to have a khabar which is in mudare form. Yes. So if it is not that, then it will be in the different form, right? The other jumlas, like normal jumla,
it will be just normal. It will just be normal. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. But it has to be in the madhi. So remember that rule? It has to come with in the madhi form. If it says, for example, يجعل is mudari'. Don't think about أفعال الشروع at that point. Only in the madhi.
Madhi.
Yeah,
followed by mudari'.
Yes, followed by mudari'. And it can be the dual form, it can be the plural form, it can be the anta, anti, as long as it's madhi. نحن version, as long as it's madhi. Yes, Saima?
Can you please explain the difference between the first one and the fifth one?
بدأ and ابتدأ. Okay. So, بدأ, like we said, بدأ is متعدي. It means it takes a مفعول به. So, بدأت أقرأ. No, بدأت قراءة. How do I? So, بدأ to start something. Yeah, to start something. So, something or someone would be the مفعول به, so it's متعدي. And ابتدأ, I myself started, like I started feeling hot. If I said I started feeling hot, I'm not doing something to something else. I myself am starting to feel something. You understand? So bada'a, something is being done to something else. And ibtada'a, it's being done to myself. There's no someone else, there's no something else. So one is lazim, one is muta'addi. But in this context, they both mean to begin.
Oh.
In this context.
But then, like, it will still means they began, like, how do I say this? Can you please give me an example of bada and in English first? Like bada, he began.
Bada, he began. He began. No, not in this context. It doesn't apply because in this context they all mean to begin. All of them. They just mean to begin. In this context. But in its normal usage, bada'a means to start something else. Yeah? To start, bada al-qira'ah.
Yes. Okay, so yeah, bada al-qira'ah. So means I started reading.
He started reading.
Sorry, he started.
So it should be yaqra'u, sister. Bada yaqra'u.
Yes, that would mean he began to read. That is now you're using it as a alshuroo. But if you're just using it in a normal context, you can say bada'a al-qira'ah. He started reading. What did he start? Reading. It's a maf'ul bihi. But if I say ibtada'tu, then I started. Or ibtada'a yamshi. Oh, no, that's still أفعال الشروع. I'm trying to think of
maybe.
Sorry?
He started walking like.
Yes.
Instead of using the fi'l mudari'.
مشيا.
Yeah, مشيا, the master, yeah.
Yeah, you can use it like that, for example. But still, no, that's still not the right usage. The usage would be like, I start. I will look for an example and probably send it.
ابتدأت.
I can't think of. Maybe like ابتدأت بك. I started with you. So it's not the best example because it comes with a jar majroor. But then again, you can see it doesn't have someone or something.
Yeah.
I got the basic meaning between mutaddi and lazim. Like I understand that meaning, but in terms of this verb, na, I'm not getting it. Like, but an example, even I'm not able to think one example where like a person is acting on oneself and the person is acting like taking a fool. I'm not able to get an example, even in English or in Arabic. So it's a very far place.
So in this case of أفعال الشروع, all these verbs, regardless of what they mean before, they're going to have only one meaning. It doesn't matter what meaning they had before. For example, أخذ means to take. But when it comes to فعل شروع, we don't say he began taking something. No, we just say he began. The taking meaning goes away. جعل, to create or to make, the meaning goes away. ابتدأ, the lazim meaning goes away. So you just have to begin. That's the meaning you get. I hope that part is clear.
I think it's not Quran that we have to be very specific why bada is used, why ibtada is used. It can be just anything, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. But I will still continue to search and see if there's any difference when it comes as fail shuru. But I don't think there is. Yeah.
Apart from that, also, like if you get an example, like what about their normal meaning, bada, mutaaddi, and ibtada, lazim. Please send examples in the group.
Okay. Yeah, I think I would do that. That will clarify the difference between those two. Okay, so let's look at some exercise. I don't know if there's any other questions before we move on to the exercise. Okay, great. So let's look at some examples so that we can cement this idea. I have very few because, again, it's not a concept that happens in the Quran. So I just had to come up with my own examples. Okay. Okay, so this one. So basically, the exercise is simple. You have to figure out what the fi'l shuru is, what the ism of it is, and therefore what the khabar of it is. Okay. So who wants to participate? Saima, I see you've raised your hand. Who else wants to participate? We have Anab as well. Okay. Start with you two. So we'll go in turns. Let's see. And Dr. Sultana as well. So we'll do it in turns. So we'll start with Saima, then Anab, then Dr. Sultana. So Saima.
Yeah. What does tuzhiru mean? Tuzhiru?
Tuzhiru is to flower. Zahra is a flower. So when you put it in Azhara, usually in Aslama family, it means to blossom or to bloom or to flower.
So akhazat al-hadiqatu tuzhiru. So akhazat is our afal shuru. Its ism is hadiqatu, the garden. And its khabar is tuzhiru, the fi'l mudari.
Exactly. You see, it's pretty basic. Like, there's not really much going on in this kind of structure. You can see, like, what is the ism of akhadat?
It's al-hadiqatu.
Yeah. Yeah. So al-hadiqatu, you can see, that's why we are saying tuzhiru, she, the here version. So it's here and here. They have to match. That's basically what you need to do. Okay, Anab, the next one.
بدأ يتكلم الطفل. So بدأ is أفعال الشروع. Then يتكلم will be the خبر. Both of them have هو. And الطفل will be the اسم.
Exactly.
بدأ.
Yeah, so you see, the order doesn't really matter. The isim can come later and the fa'il can come earlier. So that's something that can happen as well. As long as you just understand the parts. of what's happening. Okay, Dr. Sultana.
जी جعلت
Mm-hmm.
تمشي أمام البنت.
Mm-hmm.
أمام البنت. So جعلت is أفعال الشروع.
Mm-hmm.
Then هي ضمير, that will be اسم of جعلت. تمشي will be خبر.
Mm-hmm.
And then أمام البنت it should be متعلق
Yes.
the fail, right? Yeah.
Exactly. متعلق بالفعل. So we just color this gray. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Okay. Yeah, we'll go back, Seema.
تفق أبوك يقود السيارات.
Mm-hmm.
تفق أفعال شروع. أبوك اسم
Mm-hmm.
of تفق. يقود السيارات خبر of خبر, and
Yes.
يقود is هو, and أبوك is also هو. Your father began to drive the car.
Exactly. So this whole sentence يقود السيارة would be our خبر. And السيارة would be the مفعول of يقود. So what did he drive? A car. It answers the question what. So that would be, so that, the whole thing would be المفعول به. Next, عنب.
أخذ الأولاد يلعبون. So
Mhm.
this one أخذ it's like a فعل أفعال الشروع, but the فاعل, I mean the فعل مضارع is يلعبون, is not يلعبوا. Like they are not matching, right? The خبر and the, so
The
it's
خبر
not
has to
أفعال
match the
الشروع. Or is
اسم.
it?
It doesn't match the فعل, it matches the اسم.
Okay.
So what is the اسم of أخذ?
It's أولاد.
Hmm.
Okay, so it's whom. Okay.
Yeah.
So then yeah, I thought like the two fi'ls have to match.
Yeah.
Got it. So الأولاد will be the اسم, and then يلعبون will be the خبر.
Exactly. So that's basically that. Next, Dr. Sultana.
Yeah. ابتداء يقرؤون القرآن. So ابتداء will be أفعال الشروع. يقرؤون will be خبر, whereas القرآن is مفعول به of يقرؤون فعل.
Beautiful.
So يقرؤون القرآن will be خبر of
Actually,
this ابتداء.
Yes. Yeah. And you can see ابتدأوا, the home version. يقرؤون, home version.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Last, I think it's Seima. You'll finish up for us.
أنشأ
Mhm.
أنشأ يبني الرجل البيت.
Beautiful.
So أنشأ is the فعل أفعال شروع. يبني البيت is the خبر. الرجل is the اسم of أنشأ. The man began to
Exactly.
build his house.
Beautiful. So that's basically the structure there. So this would be the ism. You can see it came later. يبني, it's our خبر, and al-bayta is the maf'ul of that خبر. So you can see different structures, how it's coming about. But the idea is you have a فعل ماضي from one of these specific فعls that we've discussed, followed by a فعل مضارع. And they match the ism of the فعل ماضي matches the pronoun inside the مضارع. Or you can just say basically the pronoun. I think, no, the ism is better, because if you say the pronoun, sometimes we've seen it doesn't come with a pronoun, like al-awlad. It comes with an outside doer. So it's better to say the ism of the فعل شروع matches with the pronoun inside the فعل مضارع. Because we said with the فعل مضارع, it's always going to be an inside pronoun. You cannot have يلعب الطلاب here, for example. It cannot be. It has to be an inside doer. Yeah. So that's basically it. And that's our discussion on أفعال الشروع. Don't know if there are any other questions. But basically that's it. It's a very short, simple topic. And it only happens once in the Quran, so we don't have to stress so much about it. All right. Inshallah, tomorrow we start on another interesting topic, which I thought would be small, because in the Baina textbook is a bit small. But then when I started researching about it, I was like, oof, it's more than what I hoped. But inshallah, we'll get to the bottom of it. It's not a long one, a ta'ajjub, basically, amazement. That's what we'll tackle on tomorrow, inshallah. So I hope you're excited or you're amazed to learn about amazement.
Yeah.
Inshallah. Okay. I will see you tomorrow, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم.
وعليكم
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله. جزاك الله خيرا كثيرا.
الله خيرا كثيرا.
إياكم جزاكم الله خيرا.